Club 100 has always been about me feeling motivated to reach for makeup products over 100 times, trying to reach that threshold. And it was also a great way to see what 100 uses looks like on a product. And sometimes it was also a favorites video because a lot of these products I'm just organically reaching for, and I think that's worth noting. It's something that I like to come back to over and over and over again. I now have 6 more products to talk about, plus 1 product that's being inducted into Club 200. So let's just get started. This Fenty lavender powder is absolutely a product that I just naturally gravitate towards and love using, and I use this solely to set my under eye concealer. I love everything about this product. I love how much product you get in there. I've worn this over 140 times, 145 times, and I still have more than half of the product in this container. So even though I think I spent like 30 something on this, this is going to last me absolutely forever. I love how soft the product is. It doesn't make my under eyes look dry. It's brightening without being too brightening, and has a very pleasant scent. It's definitely toned down since I first opened it, but when I first opened it, it smelled just like Hypnotic Poison from Dior. I'm so glad Fenty came out with this purple powder, and I hope more brands follow suit. I may have inducted a previous contour wand into Club 100 forever ago because I know I went through a full size of this, and I think it took me almost 200 uses to do that. But I've since gotten a new tube, and I've also reached over 100 wears on this. I've worn this 114 times so far, and yes, the actual packaging has gotten a lot thinner, but there's still a lot left in there. And I think there is still a little bit of an air bubble, but I use very little of this every time I apply it. I put a little under each cheekbone and then right here on the sides of my jaw, and I use a sponge to blend it out. And then whatever I have left over on my sponge, I tap on top of my cheekbones just to kind of bring my freckles back a little bit. I am glad to see that you can get over 100 uses in something that is more pricey, and the fact that they expanded their shade range recently. Another pricey one, this is the Kogen Dough Aqua Foundation. I'm in the shade 213. This on its own is too deep for me, but the undertone is really nice. It has an olive tone to it. And so I like to mix this in with other foundations during the summer months. This is very liquidy. Aqua foundation is a great way to describe this. And I think when I originally purchased this bottle, it was $98, and I've since checked the price again, and it's been bumped up to $106. And unfortunately, I don't get as much wear out of this as I would like, given just how much I'm paying for it. I'm already down to the very bottom part of the text of this bottle, and I've only worn it 101 times. I've had this for a number of years, so I can't remember exactly how I've always worn it. I think there might have been a point in time where I was very tan and I was looking for something more light coverage, so I was just using maybe 1 or 2 pumps of this all over my face, which if that's what I was doing, I feel a little silly because I was just burning through this super expensive product. Even though it is more expensive, I do really like it. I like how it feels. If anyone can recommend a more affordable version of this, I would be so appreciative. Also, that tone is just perfect. The fact that it's got a little bit of coverage but not too much, it's just really nice as a mixer. And so maybe if I can find this like on super sale at some point, I might consider picking up another bottle, but full price is just too much for me personally. On the opposite side of the spectrum, I have this incredibly affordable brow pencil from AOA Studios. So I think this was like $1 or $2 max, and it's double-sided. So one side is a microfine pencil. I haven't worn that side 100 times. I've only worn that 28 times. But the other side, the thicker side that's kind of shaped like a triangle or a teardrop, I've worn this 150 times and I still have a lot of product left. I likely wouldn't purchase this pencil again just because the color isn't exactly what I'm looking for. It's fine to finish, but it's not something I would go out of my way to purchase again. I like things that are a little bit more cool toned and maybe a little bit deeper. But even so, the fact that I've gotten over 150 uses and counting just on one side of this product for something that's so affordable, I think is really great. These next 2 products I'm actively enjoying, and I think they're good products, but they're not absolute favorites like the ones I was talking about recently. The first one is this Sigma eyeshadow base primer. This is actually one of my newest inductions into Club 100. I've worn this 101 times. I really only have a little bit of it left. However, a little chunk of it did come off, and touch the ground, so I just threw it away. So I won't have accurate number of uses after this is finished. I think this is a great eyeshadow primer. I think it's the color more so that I don't love. This is in the shade Persuade, which is a matte slight pink beige color. It's a little bit darker than my skin, and when I wear eyeshadow primers I tend to prefer either translucent or brightening ones. But this is great and I'm gonna finish it. I just wouldn't likely repurchase it. It's very creamy though. Almost a little too creamy because it will chunk off if you're not careful. And the other one is this M Cosmetics Rose Milk Blush Drops. I've been trying to reach for this more often because it's one of my older cream blushes in my collection and I would like to work through it. I've worn this 119 times and there's still a lot of product in there. It's a beautiful color. It's a nice liquidy but still pigmented blush, like it's fine. I don't love it more than some of my other cream blushes that I really like. And then my Club to 100 introduction is this Laura Geller highlighter. This is in the shade Peach Glow. I've definitely hit pan on it and been expanding it over these past couple of months. I don't have an exact number of uses, but I did start tracking it at some point. And since I started tracking my uses, I've worn it an additional 248 times. It's getting to a point where I'm having trouble grabbing product, so I'm having to move to smaller and smaller dense brushes in order to even pick up enough to apply. Hey, I'm back. It's been a few days, but I have 2 more products to add to Club 100. Just reached that 100 use threshold, and I figured since I haven't uploaded this video yet, I could just tack it onto this one. Actually, I have a lipstick to add. This is from Charlotte Tilbury in the shade Wedding Bells. It's from their Matte Revolution formula, and I've worn this 102 times. I have a relatively new Charlotte Tilbury lipstick that I can show for comparison. They're different lipsticks. Like this is, I think, just from their regular kissing formula. And then this is from the Look of Love collection, so it has refillable bullets. So I'm not sure if they're the same size normally, but I just wanted to show you what like a relatively new lipstick looks like compared to one that I've worn 102 times. I feel like I go through the kissing formula more quickly because it's just creamier and I feel like I can just slather it on almost like as a moisturizing lip product. The Matte Revolution one I don't apply as much each time, but that's exciting. I have a lot of lip products, so it feels good that I am actively reaching for them enough to be able to induct them into Club 100. And the next one is the freshest induction. I just wore it for the 100th time today, and that's this color corrector from Makeup Revolution. It's the Eye Bright corrector in the shade Light to Medium. This is enormous. It's 8 grams or 0.28 ounces. And every time I wear it, I take a little bit out each time using a pair of tweezers. I have a really old pair of tweezers that I can't use to actually tweeze anything anymore. And I use this to take stoppers out of things. And then I also use the other side to take out a little bit of product. And so every time I reach for this, I just take the littlest bit out with the corner of my tweezers, and then I put that on my finger pad and rub it between both of them to warm it up, and then just pat it on my under eyes. It's creamy, a little brightening. I find that it is a more like forgiving under eye color corrector because it doesn't feel dry. I honestly don't know if I'll ever be able to finish this. For having worn it 100 times, there's just still so much in there. Actually, you know what this reminds me of? It reminds me of the erase paste from Benefit, if you remember that. I don't know if they even still make that. Speaking of Benefit, I used to love the What's Up highlighter. It was a cream highlighter stick, and I was looking it up the other day for something, and I realized that they discontinued it last year, so they don't sell it anymore. I don't typically buy from Benefit anyway. I tend to prefer purchasing from cruelty-free brands. But if you know of a dupe, if you know of any brand that creates something like it, that had that slightly drier texture so it didn't feel sticky, and it just was like a beautiful champagne color. It was beautifully reflective without looking stripy. It could be taken up a notch, it could be blended out and made more subtle. I remember really loving that back in the day. It was in one of my very first project pans. And just knowing that it's not out there anymore makes me sad. So if you know of a dupe, that has nothing to do with my Club 100 video, but I just wanted to ask if you had any tips on that. I went on Reddit briefly to check and I couldn't really find anything that I thought was applicable. I appreciate you watching. Thanks for giving me a couple extra minutes to add these 2 products on. That's everything I have though. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!